Alrighty, hey guys, how's it going? Via Van Helsing here. Back with another GIMP tutorial. Today I wanted to do a tutorial on some of the filters that GIMP offers. So, I've been meaning to record this video for a while because I got a really good response from the last tutorial I did, which was a beginner's tutorial, but I wanted to go into something just a little bit more advanced. So what I'm going to do for this is just go over some of the filters that we have in GIMP with a couple of these different pieces that I have here, and to just show you guys the extent to which this can work, and also maybe make some of the art that you do on GIMP a little bit easier on you, because there are a lot of filters to assist you as you're doing art. So just starting off with this little cartoon here, I'm just going to start off with the first one that comes up on here. These are all the blurs you can do. All these blurs do different things. So if you just want a generic blurry looking blur, you have the Gaussian blur, and this is just going to do basically kind of a lens blur. It gives you sort of an out of focus look. Also, like, you can see that's sort of an old film look, which kind of works for this particular piece that I've got here. There's also several more. I'm not going to go over all of them because some of them, they get redundant after a while, but I will go over a few of them. This is the pixelizing. I don't know if you could really consider that a blur, but I guess it does blur it a little bit. But this can be used on a number of different photos to give them a certain effect. There's a couple of other things on this one as well. You can see, like, it's pixelizing this right now, but there are a couple things you can do with it to make the pixels further apart. To get more of a mosaic look, you can offset them a little bit just to wherever you want them on. Offset X, offset Y. Give it a little bit of that look. But anyway, there's a lot of things that you can do with all these filters. I'm not going to go over everything that you can do with these filters because I don't know everything that you can do with these filters. There's such a huge extent of the things that you could pull off with these to make a whole bunch of different effects, and they're really useful. Here's another one. Is a zoom motion blur, and you can see like how that immediately differentiates from the regular Gaussian blur, the pixelization. It makes it look like you're going toward it at a speed. Alright, this is an enhance, the enhance category on this. There are a couple things on here. The ones that you're probably going to be using most are like noise reduction, red eye removal, and photographs. Noise reduction, where's a good place I can show that? If I were to go on here and choose the enhance and then the sharpen, and I were to sharpen this to an extreme amount, like just like way over sharpen the picture, it would attempt to sort of smooth out some of the grain that I caused. You can see that changing there. So it's good if you want a smoother picture, but it will take out some of the detail on there. Going back to this guy here, I just showed you the sharpen. It can be used in a lot better ways than I just used it. Red eye removal, I don't think I have a photograph with red eye in it, so I'm not going to be able to show you that. Sorry. There's also despeckle, can remove speckle noise from an image. This is extremely useful if you have like more of a rough piece or maybe even a photograph. It can take some of... I use it sometimes for like pencil sketches and stuff when I scan them onto my computer. It can take some of the louder noise out of it and take out some of the speckles that you're going to find in there. I can try to show you on this one. I don't know if it's going to work that well, but I can try to show you. Well, yeah, you can see there, I've turned it up way too high, but the general sense is that it's supposed to take out a lot of the noise that the computer senses is not supposed to be there. Distorts are... there's a lot of them, and you can play around with them at your own discretion, but just to show you, an engraving, to make it look like it's sort of engraved onto a surface. Kaleidoscope, you can probably guess mosaic. It just creates sort of a mosaic. I'll show you what that looks like. And you can change the tile size, you can change the tile height. Newsprint, it sort of creates like a web on there to make it look like a newspaper. Let's see, ripple, you can probably guess it just sort of ripples the picture there. A shift, it shifts each row or column by a random amount. This is good for like a static effect. Spherizing, it sort of wraps it around a sphere, similar to, well, it wraps it around a sphere, let's say that. I'll just go ahead and show you. That's what it would look like. Video degradation, just basically it Simulates like being in an older video. Wind-like bleed effect. And you can see it's just smearing it a little bit. Almost looks like ink smeared across the paper. There are a whole bunch of these. Like I said, page curl, it just makes a quarter of the page curl up, literally. Oh well, but you can see. That's just a quickie effect. Just like if you needed that specific effect, it's there. These are some of my favorite things to use. They do have their limitations, and a lot of them have a lot of limitations, but I'll show you a few. Actually, I already have a few. On this one I use several lighting effects, and you can see some of them in here. These are called supernovas, and I will show you those on the other side here. This basically creates a star in your picture. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. It does have certain lighting effect on the picture around it. As you can see, it's basically, it has like a blue effect coming from the middle. And then of course there's white light. You can change the color of the star if you want to. It's green, it's red, whatever you want to do. Lens flare, you can guess it just creates a lens flare on the photo. Let's see, gradient flare. It's sort of, I mean, if you've seen the old Tron movies, you've seen the old, like, Star Trek movies, you've seen a lot of gradient flares. It just creates sort of a light using a gradient, so. Let's see, lighting effects. I use this one often, but it's very limited in its use. Just because it treats the picture as a flat surface, and obviously you're like trying to show texture in your lighting, so it can be useful at times, but it's definitely not the most useful thing you'll find. It will not replace manual lighting in a picture. I know it's sad, but it will definitely not replace you just like manually going and putting lighting in a picture. But for backgrounds, for skies, for stuff like that, it is like, it's super great. But again, it's just like, it's made to be light over a flat surface, and it can't really detect what's going on in your picture. Sparkle, bright spots, and starry sparkles. So you take that, you make it black, you give it a whole bunch of white dots. Okay, and it's going to create sort of like a sparkle effect. That looks a little bit cartoony, but you can edit any of these values in order to change that. I use light and shadow a lot. Oh, drop shadow, that's a good one. Let me actually do it on this one. It'll show up a little bit better. Drop shadow creates just a little bit of a shadow underneath that. You can take the blur radius, you can take the opacity of the shadow to make it a little bit more solid. That's the word I'm looking for. You can take the blur radius to make it look a little bit softer. For now, I think that actually looks pretty cool. There's also the long shadow. Let's turn that to black. And it gives you just a little bit more of a solid color. It's basically like taking the lines and just doing an angled shadow from them, and you can change the angle to whatever angle you want. A vignette, it just basically, I actually really like that on there, so I'm going to keep it. It's just kind of a glowing orb around whatever you have. Another drop shadow. It's on the legacy. I'm not really sure what that means, but there's several legacy things on GIMP. I'm guessing it's just like a different coding or some sort of a different program that they use with it, but it's very similar, so I'm not going to show it. This one's pretty cool. This one's just like different types of noise. Now you saw the enhancing with the noise reduction, but this is actually creating noise on there, which can be useful for several situations. Like if you want sort of a staticky look on it. There are several different situations in which you can use the noise, but the one I would think of mostly for is just making like a static or distorted look. A lot of these are the same, like they're more of the same, just like in different configurations. Like you can see this one is making noise by taking the pixels and spreading them out in a different configuration. The other one was taking them and making certain pixels into different colors. This one, I think it's just kind of randomizing certain pixels or certain pixels on top of pixels and just sort of randomizing their hue. And there's a lot of different ways you can do it, but it's just kind of more of the same, so not going to spend too long on it. Edge detect, I don't think I'm gonna go over this one just because it's not too much anyway. This is basically, I'll show you one. This is basically just taking your edges and outlining them. There's not much more to it than that. You can see on that one that it outlined it pretty well, but on something more like this, it's going to be just a little bit, let's just show you. It's going to be a little bit blurrier. No, this looks a little bit odd, but it's just trying to detect the edges and highlight them for you to basically sort of give you a line work of something. And how it works is going to depend on the detail of whatever you're using. So again, limitations. These are more like generic things that you can use on here, obviously generic. These are sort of do-it-yourself filters. So I'm not even really going to go over these. There's not much there. This is a pretty simple tutorial. This is stuff that you can like literally click and then edit yourself and then see. So I'm not going to go into mapping or bump mapping or anything like that in there because that's a little bit above my pay grade, honestly. And I'm just not going to go into it. This combine, depth merge, you can combine two images. That's pretty much it. Film strip, it just takes it and makes it into like a little film strippy looking thing. I guess I can show you. This will make a new image, by the way. So if you take this, yeah, you see it makes it into a little film strip, which is cute, but yeah. Oh, there's so many on this one. Apply canvas, just creates canvas texture in the background. Cartoon, this one. This one has been the downfall of many an artist, the cartoon one. So you take a realistic looking picture or even a photograph and you put the cartoon on it and it gives it, basically puts line work around it and takes the shaded parts and makes them a little bit darker usually and just separates them out to where it looks like it's more of a painted or a cartoony feel. You can edit a lot of things about it. I'm not going to do it on this one because it would take a while to actually render, but you can edit the blackness, you can edit the mask radius to make it look more cartoony or like more comic style cartoony, if you know what I'm saying. Cubism, this one. Oh man, just for all of your abstract needs. Oilify, it makes it into sort of an oil painting, glass tile. It's like you're looking at it through tiled glass, which I can't even explain it that well. That's what it looks like. Photocopy, it makes sort of a photocopy look to it. It's not the best thing I've ever seen, but it's alright. And again, you're gonna have to play with a lot of these on your own because I'm not gonna go over every single one of them. Soft glow, let's see. Yeah, it just makes it look like it's glowing. Clothify, it gives it sort of a clothing texture. Photocopy again and legacy. Predator is an interesting one. Let's go with Predator. That's not even... Okay, let's go over this one. I don't know, I just find this one interesting, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. It sort of gives it an infrared look. Cool for certain things, just depending on what you're doing. Soft glow again, and Van Gogh. Special effects that nobody understands. A couple of these are very specific to GIMP. And GIMP, I don't know who programmed GIMP, the GIMP Corporation. No, they're not a corporation, this is free. But they have a very nice sense of humor. So I'm gonna go ahead and just show you guys this. The plugin crashed. Oh no. Hold on. Well, I'm gonna save this one. Hold on. Let me export this. Just real quick. Sorry. This is an emergency export. Okay, we're good. Decor, this is sort of just finishing touches, like bevel, border to the image. You can add coffee stains to the image. The coffee stains aren't amazing. Let me show you the coffee stains real quick. Okay. So you see that there's a coffee stain. Hello. You gonna move for me? There we go. See that there's kind of a transparent coffee stain here, and it's okay, but it's not great. I mean, you could probably whip up something yourself that would be a little bit better. I have enough confidence in you to say that. Let's see. Okay, let's do it on this one. This is an old photo thing. This will create a new image and it'll show up here. By the way, whenever these filters create a new image, they will keep your old original image up here. Otherwise, you can just undo them. As you can see, I can't undo the old photo because it created a new image. But don't be worried about using some of these filters and then like completely losing your art, because that's not going to happen. Like they play it on the safe side. Like you can easily either undo or it just creates another image. So you can see it just creates like an old image looking thing. An old image looking thing. So rendering, this is a little bit more like doing it for you. I'll show you a couple of these. This one's cool. This one basically creates a pattern. So you can see like this little pentagram looking thing on there. You can stroke the pattern with several different types of tools. I can stroke it with my paintbrush there. If you want to, you can like lower the fixed gear teeth. So you can see that just kind of took it off. This one's just drawing the shape for you. And this is probably how they make all of those coloring books that you see. I'm guessing this is how they do it. Because I know that there aren't just like a bunch of people sitting there drawing these all day. There's also things where you can like render a circuit board. It's not a very good circuit board. It's not like the best thing I've ever seen, but if you want a circuit board pattern on it, it will put that in there for you. Let's let that render for a second. So yeah, you can see this. It's not great. You could probably edit it to make it a little bit better, but I did not, so. Let's see. Geometric shapes, just if you want a bunch of random shapes, I guess. Just random shapes that you can put out on here. This basically, I hate to throw GIMP under the bus here, but so in Adobe Photoshop you have an ellipse tool and you have a square tool, and it can instantly make a circle or a square for you that's absolutely perfect, which is great. But GIMP doesn't really have that. All it has is a select tool, which is fine until like you really, really need to make a circle, which is a problem that I've come into, but this is pretty much the closest thing you're going to get to that on GIMP. Lava is not that impressive. It just renders a layer of lava-like substance. Line Nova, you've probably seen these before, but if you don't know what they're called, I'll go ahead and show you what it is. Okay, so that's a line nova. It's just basically lines that come out of the center of something. You can lower the amount of lines or raise the amount of lines depending on just what you want from it, but it's useful to have that, especially if you're like if you want to do sort of a simple character in front of a simple background. Line novas are great. They're probably going to be dated here in a little while, but you can't help it. This is cool. Don't know how terribly useful it would be for somebody who's doing art or something like that, but it just basically creates, wasn't exactly expecting that, but if you insist. Okay, so this is supposed to create a ripple effect. I'm not exactly sure why it created a ripple effect like it did, but we're gonna see. There's also a playback option for any of the animations that you... GIMP, what are you doing? Hold on. Okay, here we go. This is being weird, I will admit. Let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, here we go. So, that is adorable though. Okay, sorry. But it creates a little ripple effect on there for all of your ripple effect needs. And it also created a new document, so the original is over here. Again, the new document is over here. It creates a whole bunch of frames in this corner. You can... I'm guessing you would have to export these individually and put them into an animation software in order for this to really work. I don't think you can actually export it as a video file on here. I'm not sure if that's capable of this, but there's an option, like if you want to put a very simple animation on this, then that's an option, which is very cool. I realize that some people have a problem with people using filters on things because it feels like you didn't actually do it yourself, that sort of thing. I get that, But at the same time, if you make a piece of art and you just want to enhance it without going through the tedium of actually putting on an effect yourself, these really work. Also, there's the off chance that you're going to be just doing photo editing and stuff like that. So, in order to avoid spending hours manually editing a photo, ta-da, you have filters. So yeah. But also, just a note, filters shouldn't be used to change art or photographs in order to claim like that the art or photographs are your own art. That's not cool. They should be used to enhance your art, not to disguise somebody else's art or photographs. So just an FYI there. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that. If you enjoyed this, I do have another couple of tutorials on GIMP. I will also put the link to download GIMP in the description. It's off the official GIMP website. It is completely free. There's like not even a GIMP premium. Like it's all completely free and open source. These guys are excellent. I'm not exactly sure why they do it. I don't know. But whoever they are, thank you, because this is awesome. If you like this art, I have a Deviant art page. Go over, watch me, take a look at some of my art, and I will appreciate you if you do that. Congratulations. I will see y'all later. Bye.